Hi boys and girls, I'm going to show you today how to do the first part of one of our holiday crafts that we're going to do. You're going to make a tree, a holiday tree, and you're going to decorate it. So if you celebrate Christmas, you can make it a Christmas tree. If you don't celebrate Christmas, you can just make a really cool tree. Now, in order to do this craft, you're going to need a couple of the things that I gave to you in your craft bag and in your package with all the papers. So today we're going to do the first part, and today you're going to need your green construction paper. So you should have at least one page of green construction paper. You're going to need your green tissue paper. You got a couple of different colors of green. You can use both of them, or you can decide to just use one. Okay. You're also going to need your scissors today, and you're going to need a pencil today, and you're going to need some glue. Now, if you have white glue, it might work a little bit better. If all you have is a glue stick, then you can make that work too. Okay, so if you need to go get those things, hit pause and then go get those things. Now, what we are going to be making is going to look like this. So let me try to share my screen with you and I will show you. We are making this fun tree that's going to be decorated. Today, we are going to make the tree part, not the trunk of the tree or the part where it stands or the decorations on the tree. We are going to make the tree part, so at the end, it's going to look like that. Okay? All right. So here's what you need to do first. You're going to take your piece of green construction paper and you need something round. And something round that's about the same size as this. So I found a big bowl in my kitchen. Maybe you can ask mom or dad to help you find a bowl or something round that you can trace, because you want to make a big circle, okay? So if we look down here, if I put my bowl in the middle of my construction paper, see how it fits. And it's pretty big. It's about as big as I can get. If you can't find anything round, maybe you can just ask mom or dad to help you draw a circle, okay? So I'm going to take my pencil and I'm going to go all the way around the bowl to trace a big circle around the outside of my bowl. And then I have a big circle on my construction paper. I'm going to cut out my big circle and I'm going to do my best to make it nice and neat. So using my scissors, I'm going to go around the circle. Remember, when you're cutting around a circle, keep your scissors straight and move the paper. It's much easier to move the paper and keep the scissors still than to try to move the scissors and keep the paper still. So make sure your scissors are in your right hand, the hand that you write with, and then the paper, you're going to move it around with your left hand or the hand you don't write with. There. So save this scraps because you'll need this for a different craft later on. And now we have our circle. Now we actually only need half of it. So you can end up making two trees if you want to. You'll have enough to make two. What we want to do is fold it in half. Okay, so line up the edges. So here's my circle. I'm going to line up the edges as best as I can, and I'm going to crease it down the middle. And then that's where I'm going to cut so that I have two halves of my circle. Each of these halves will make a tree. So you can choose to make two trees, or you can choose to make one tree. You can save this for something else. Now, the only other thing we have to do is take our pencil and we're just going to draw kind of where we think the middle is. And we're just going to draw a little bit of a triangle, not a very big triangle, just a little piece. So we remember not to put tissue paper there. Otherwise, when we go to fold our tree, because what we're going to do is stick tissue paper all the way around it, and then we're going to fold it into a cone shape. And if we don't have that piece with no tissue paper on it, there won't be any place for us to glue it together. Okay, so if you roll up your circle like this, you should see that you have a cone shape or a tree shape. Okay, so you can see how big you need that to be. It can be a little bit bigger, doesn't really matter, as long as when you do a test and roll it up, it looks like there's enough space for you to glue it together. Okay, now the next part is kind of the fun part. What you're going to do, and I'm going to show you some different pictures here. You're going to cut out little squares of your tissue paper. So this stuff is called tissue paper, this really thin paper, and it's actually a giant sheet. If you open it up, it's ginormous. And you're just going to cut out teeny little squares, okay? And by teeny little, I mean like the size of your thumb, Okay, so if I were to cut one, it would probably be about that big, about the size of my thumb. Now you can do this, you're gonna need lots of these, so you can do it, cut a whole strip off and then just snip bits off like that. You can fold the paper over and cut a couple strips together because it is super thin paper. And you can decide to use both colors of green or just one or the other. You make the call, okay? Now I'm going to show you how we're going to do this. So if you look here, what we're doing is cutting these little teeny tiny squares, and then they're wrapping it around the end of a pencil and dipping it in some white glue and then pasting it on the green construction paper. They've actually, I think, put the glue on the paper and then they're just poking the tissue paper on top of the glue. You can do it that way too. If you have a glue stick, that'll probably be easy. Put glue on certain parts of your paper. And eventually you're going to want to fill the whole thing up with tissue paper, except for that little triangle that we drew at the beginning, because that's where it's going to roll around and glue to itself. Okay, so when you're doing this, you have your little square and you want to take your pencil, and where the eraser part of the pencil is, you're going to pop it. Let me show you down here. So if that's my square, I'm going to put that kind of as close to the middle as I can. And then you're just going to fold up the edges. So you kind of curl your edges around. See that? So it kind of goes around the pencil. And then when I glue it, it's going to glue and stand up. And I don't have any glue on my paper, but see how it's a little kind of a little poofy thing? It's going to stay and stand up right on that part of the construction paper. Now, one doesn't do very much. You can see we have to fill in all of this space with construction paper. That's why this is only part one, because this will probably take you a long time to cut all the little squares out and to make the little cups that go around the end of your pencil and fill in this whole green space. Now, what I would do once it's all filled in, don't roll it right away, because if you try to roll it, it bends the paper and then some of the tissues might pop off. So I would put all the tissue paper all over. The closer you get it, the more it looks like a real tree. If they're really far apart, it won't look too much like a real tree, but if you can kind of squish them together, we use lots of little squares of tissue paper, then it'll look like a real tree. So put them all over as much as you can. It's a good idea to do a little piece at a time. So maybe just put glue on this little piece here and then do all your tissue papers, and then put glue on the next part and do all your tissue paper and keep going. And then once it's all filled, leave it flat, let it dry overnight. So let it dry until tomorrow, okay? So don't start folding and messing with it because it's gotta dry. And the longer you leave it to dry, the easier it will be to decorate it and turn it into a tree, okay? So your goal today is to grab your green piece of construction paper, find something round, trace it, cut out a circle, then fold your circle in half and cut it in half. Don't forget to leave a little bit. And then using your green tissue paper, cut out squares. If you want your tree bushier, make your squares bigger, okay? Use lots and lots of glue, white glue if you have it. If you don't have white glue, then use a glue stick and cover your circle just so it looks like this. Again, let me show you one more time what we're going for. See how covered up it is? See how it's nice and bushy? We want your tree to be nice and bushy, just like that. You're going to wrap the tissue paper around the tip of the pencil, put glue on your paper, and then stand those things up. If they're not standing up, you need more glue. So put on lots and lots of glue. All right. So once it looks like this, leave it flat, put it someplace safe, and let it sit for the rest of the day. And then tomorrow, on Thursday, I will show you the next step to turn this into a tree. All right. I know you'll have fun with this project. I can't wait to see how it goes.